Hello and welcome back to the Training Tom podcast, the place where I share the lessons I've learned, the challenges I'm currently facing, and the questions I have for my future self. And in today's episode, I'm talking all about balance. So let's dive into it. Before we start talking about balance, I think it's important to think about where we are in the year at the moment. We are 12 weeks into the new year, so this is the 12th episode of the Training Tom podcast. But more importantly, we are 12 weeks into the year. And I think it's important at this stage to take stock, to ask ourselves some questions, a bit like we did a few weeks ago, on how we're getting on with our New Year's resolutions. Maybe it's not with our New Year's resolutions. Maybe it's in fact just with some goals that you've been setting yourself either at the start of the year or as the year has gone on. Just asking ourselves questions like, is this still a priority? How am I getting on with this goal? Where am I in the process of achieving this goal? How far have I got to go? How far have I come as well? It's not just a case of thinking about how far you've got to go, but from where you started at the beginning of the year, perhaps, to where you are right now, how far have you come in that journey? So asking yourselves questions around your goals, around your New Year's resolution, whatever it might be. I think at this stage, 12 weeks into the year, we've had a good chunk of time from when those goals potentially started. And it's a good time to reflect on progress and how far you're getting towards that goal, or perhaps how far you've got to go to achieve that goal, but also reminding yourself, like I said, of how far you've come in that journey as well. It's not just about not just to think about how far you've got to go. It's also about things you've done already, the things that you've already achieved this year. Reflecting on those things are just as important as the things that you still want to achieve later on in the year. So I wanted to start off the episode just by asking you guys some questions that I've asked myself, or I'm going to be asking myself as well, just so that I can get an idea of how the start of the year has gone for me. And it kind of links in with this episode on balance. I'm not talking about balance in the sense of, can you stand on one leg? I'm talking about balance in the sense of where are your priorities at this moment in time? Are you getting the right balance across your life? Or, a bit like how I will reveal later on in this episode, are you not getting the balance right at the moment? Are things perhaps a bit challenging at the moment? So that's what we're going to be exploring in today's episode. And it's potentially something that I could class as a challenge that I'm facing at this moment in time, is trying to get the balance right, because I feel like right now I'm not getting the balance right. I am trying to do everything. And at the start of the year, that was very different. At the start of the year, my work was a lot slower. My health wasn't in the most optimal place, shall we say. And those of you that have listened to the previous episodes will know why that is the case. So if you haven't, I'd encourage you to go back and listen to some of those earlier episodes to understand where I was at the start of the year. But since then, my health has improved massively. In fact, I've not experienced, apart from a few small illnesses, not experienced any real setbacks in my health, especially to the extent that I had in the second half of last year, which has meant that it's given me more time and more energy to do other things. And this is where I've started to get the balance perhaps a bit wrong. right now, I am trying to do everything. Work has picked up. Last week was a prime example of that because I was in Surrey for a couple of days for team meetings and department meetings and just, lots of contact with my colleagues, which was fantastic. And then from Surrey, or from Epsom to be precise, I travelled up to Edinburgh to deliver a training session. I then flew back home late on Thursday night. So from Tuesday morning all the way through until Thursday night, I wasn't at home. I was sleeping in hotel rooms. I wasn't eating the things that I'd normally be eating. And I had what you could say is less control over all of those things. But work was taking priority at that moment in time. But yeah, I'm trying to do everything. My work has picked up and is becoming a bit busier now. Training is also going really well in preparation for Ironman Leeds later on this year. I'm socialising a lot more over the past month. Yeah, over the past month or so, I've been dating somebody as well. I've been trying to eat properly. I've been trying to support my health so that it doesn't fall back into the place that it was last year. Trying to support my family. I'm trying to be present on social media. I'm trying to record the podcast, trying to save money for a house, but I'm also trying to make sure that I'm still living and having a life outside of just focusing on saving money. Oh, and I'm trying to find the time to switch off, trying to find the time to relax and find the time to sleep properly so that I can recover both mentally and physically for work, for training, to be present in the social, what's the word I'm looking for? When I'm socializing, we'll just go with that. And when I'm dating as well. So yeah, I feel like I'm trying to do a lot. And at the moment, I'm not getting the balance right. I'm burning the candle definitely at both ends. But this time round, I feel like I've recognised that. I feel like I've recognised that I'm not getting the balance right. And this is where the challenge lies, because in the past, I know that I haven't recognised those things and I've carried on going. Last year was a prime example of that because I was kind of doing the same thing that I'm doing this year and really wasn't, well, it got me to the place that I was in the middle and end of last year where my health just took an absolute battering because I wasn't getting the balance right. I was trying to do everything and wasn't looking after my health and wasn't prioritising that. But I feel like this time round I've noticed those signs earlier. Well, it's the end of March now, and I've recognised that perhaps over the past 6 to 8 weeks, I've been doing a little bit too much. But not in a bad sense necessarily, because I feel very positive about all of the steps that I am taking and all of the things that I am doing. But I think at this moment in time, it's recognising how I feel, or the challenge you could say that I'm facing right now is recognising how I feel when I haven't got the balance quite right. And a few of the things that I've noticed recently is that I've started to perhaps become a bit more irritable with my family. I've started to feel overwhelmed, and the way that I recognise now that I'm feeling overwhelmed is that I start overthinking everything. I start feeling like the world is getting on top of me and my mind is just racing all of the time. And that was something that I noticed earlier on this week, and I had to kind of catch myself and think, okay, well, why am I feeling that way? Why is my mind racing all the time? Why am I struggling to get off to sleep? And then when I wake up during the night, why am I waking up and instantly my mind is switched on? And it was that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling that I'm trying to do everything all at once and I'm not giving myself the space and the time to slow down and to take stock of where I am at this moment in time. So that irritability, that feeling of overwhelm, that overthinking, and also not talking to people, isolating myself potentially. Just well, it's quite funny because one of my friends said to me the other week that he doesn't want to hear about things that I'm thinking or things that I'm exploring and doing through the medium of my podcast. He wants to hear about them from me. And this is another one of those times where I haven't told people that I'm perhaps not getting the balance right and where I'm perhaps feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It's one of those times where, I'm not talking to people. I'm just trying to deal with it all myself, which is something that I've done in the past. And again, it's why it falls into that category of a challenge that I'm currently facing, because all of those things that I'm feeling right now, that overwhelm, that irritability, the isolation, you could say, or just generally not talking about how I'm feeling, are all things that I've done in the past. And they're all things that I know don't serve me properly. And, I'm not saying this to ask for help from people, because that's not what I'm trying to, or not the point that I'm trying to make, is that I'm not sharing all of this information to get people to message me and say, oh, I hope you're okay, like always here if you need a chat or something. That's not the purpose of it. Part of the purpose here is actually for me to gain clarity on my own thoughts, for me to try and understand potentially why I'm feeling that way, why my mind is working in that way. And I think it is purely and simply down to habits. Historically, I've always been very independent. I've always tried to figure things out myself. And essentially, I've thought I'm alone is the wrong word, but I'm going to use it here. Because I can't think of what the right word is here, but I've tried to do everything alone. I've tried to do everything on my own and tried to, just get by thinking that it's me against the world, which is not a very healthy mentality to have. And it doesn't support me, but it also doesn't support potentially the people around me either. And when I've been trying to promote such a positive message around mental health and try and support your health and try and overcome challenges that you're facing, trying to embrace discomfort is another one of those things that falls into that category as well. It's all well and good me saying those things, but if I'm not living up to that by not making changes myself, then it's very hypocritical. And that's not what I want this to be. So perhaps this episode is more me challenging myself to break these habits, because I want to break these habits on a personal level, so that for the future version of myself, for the future relationships that I might have, for the future family that I hope to have one day as well, I'm not carrying these unhealthy behaviors into those situations. But also for my friends, for the people that are close to me, so that I do feel more comfortable reaching out to them. I do feel more comfortable talking to them about these challenges and these feelings that I might be having, because historically it has been uncomfortable. But also by hopefully sharing my experiences, it makes other people more comfortable to share their experiences with their friends. And it reminds me that nobody has ever become a self-made millionaire or billionaire or self-made person. There was a quote that I heard from Stephen Graham, and it was in an interview that he was doing for his latest Netflix series called Adolescence. And I haven't watched it yet, but I've been recommended to watch it. And he talks about how there was this saying many years ago, and I think it's still relevant now, that it doesn't take a family to raise a child. It takes a village. It takes a community of people to raise one person. And I think I know, it's not I think, I know I lose that sense a lot of the time because I feel like I'm trying to do everything on my own. I don't want to be a burden on people potentially, or I don't want to seem weak, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to let people down. I think maybe it comes back to that fear of not being good enough that I've mentioned. You know, if I'm not sharing the difficult moments with the people that I care about, then they'll never see me as not being enough. But then you could also argue, and this is a very strong argument, that they never see the true version of you. I think that's very true, actually, is that if I've constantly got walls up, which a friend of mine mentioned to me a couple of years ago, there always seems to be like a wall or a barrier that I've got up to protect myself a lot of the time. Through years of experiences, I've put barriers up to protect myself from that fear of not being good enough, and protect myself from that fear of perhaps letting people down, or I don't know what it is, or maybe I do, I'm just not prepared to share it right now. But yeah, those barriers that I've been putting up for a long time, I've, over the past year or so, maybe even over the past 9 months, not even a year, been trying to understand where they come from and have been trying to break some of those barriers down. But I think this episode and everything that I'm sharing at the moment shows that I've still got a long way to go. And in terms of that balance, I've kind of been rambling on and gone a bit off topic there, but I think it's relevant in terms of those habits, in that the barriers that I've been putting up and the uncomfortable feeling of wanting to share the burden or wanting to get help from other people is uncomfortable because I've made it uncomfortable. Because again, it's a habit that I've ingrained into myself, that don't want to seek help from people, that I want to do everything by myself and I want to be strong and independent. But as I've just mentioned, that's not how the world works. You can't do everything on your own. And I think that's ever more evident, the older I'm getting, but also the more experiences that I'm exposing myself to, the more people that I'm exposing myself to. Like I said earlier, I've recently started dating somebody, and I don't want the habits that I have at the moment to carry into the potential relationship that I might have with this person. I want to do things differently because, again, historically, I've done things a certain way when I've been dating, or when I've been not even dating, just talking to somebody. And I don't want to carry those unhealthy behaviours into a potential future relationship. So trying to address those things right now, I think, is really important. So I'm trying to recognise how I feel when I'm not getting the balance right, when I'm burning the candle at both ends. And right now, the challenge is trying to change those habits, trying to make myself uncomfortable, because changing habits fundamentally are not easy. So going through that discomfort to try and change those habits is going to be tough. It's going to be hard. But I also think it's necessary. And I also know that once I've made myself uncomfortable and experienced that discomfort to change those habits, I will be a better person for it. And I hope it makes the people around me, better people as well. But something has to give. I think with this balance, something has to give. And I don't want that to be my health like it was last year. Because without my health, I've got nothing. without my health, I can't complete or can't get to the start line of the Ironman I have planned ahead. Without my health, I can't socialize. Without my health, I can't work properly. Without my health, I can't be present when I'm dating and when I'm socializing with friends and family. So something has to give. And it's understanding what can take a backseat and what I'm willing to put less energy into. And historically, that would have been my relationships. That would have been focusing more on my career because it was the thing that I could control. Focusing more on my training, again, because it was the thing that I could control. But this time round, it's not like that. I don't want it to be like that because I'm quite happy at the moment. And I'm enjoying the situation that I'm in with my social life, with the person that I've been dating, with the training that I've been doing at the moment, with my health as well. I feel like my health is in a pretty good place at the moment too. And the other uncomfortable thing here is that means that my work life or my professional life has to take a back seat. I think I have to put less energy into my professional life in order to put more energy, or at least put the same amount of energy that I'm putting into my health, my relationships, my training. And that's another uncomfortable thing because historically, as I've mentioned a minute ago, my career has been the thing that I've latched onto and I've been putting most of my energy into. Second to that was probably my health and fitness. Third to that was my social life with friends and family. And right at the bottom of the list was my romantic relationships. But that has climbed up the list and is taking more of a priority at this moment in time. So that naturally means that something else has to take a back seat. And given everything that happened with my professional life last year, and given how much time and energy I need to put into other things at the moment, my professional life is the thing that is having and is going to have to take the hit, which is uncomfortable, but I'm also okay with that. Right now, I can confidently say that I'm okay with that because I have put so much time and so much energy to get myself to the place that I am right now. And yes, I'm not earning as much as I want to be earning, but I feel comfortable in the position that I'm in. Another uncomfortable thing is that I know that I'm going to have to become more disciplined and I'm going to have to manage my time better. I've mentioned it in previous episodes, but I'm usually late to social events. So in order to manage my time better, I need to make sure that I'm on time for things. I need to make sure that I'm blocking out time for training, blocking out time to relax and have time to myself. Because like I've said, one of the reasons I haven't been getting the balance right is because I haven't been blocking out time for myself so that I can take stock of my situation, so that I can be present with my feelings and understand why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. So that's something that I know that I need to improve. And again, it's going to be uncomfortable because it's habits that I've had for a long time and that I'm going to need to change. And I think another thing that is reminding me that I'm not getting the balance right is this podcast. At the start of the year, because I couldn't train as much, because my health was in a worse place than what it is right now, because work was a lot slower, and because I wasn't dating anybody at the time and I wasn't socializing as much, the podcast could take more of a priority. My social media could take more of a priority. But in recent months, or in the past, I'd say in the past month, it hasn't taken a priority. I haven't been anywhere near as present on social media and haven't been managing my time well enough with this podcast either. But this is important to me too. And I need to remind myself when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm feeling like the balance isn't right, the reason why I'm doing things. And the reason why I'm doing this podcast is so important to me. So it's something that I need to, again, make time for. And not even need to make time for, that I want to make time for. Because of the importance that I'm placing on it. Because of my why in wanting to do this podcast. So yeah, a few challenges at the moment, but I'm not seeing it in a negative way. I want to see this in a positive way, and I want to be optimistic about what the future can hold, because the fact that I've recognised these things before it's been too late is automatically a positive step in the right direction. It shows that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It shows that it's not even light at the end of the tunnel, because it's not like I'm in a dark place at the moment. It's just that I'm changing. That the work that I did in therapy last year hasn't gone to waste. It's actually proving beneficial, because I am recognising these things. And yeah, I'm still not getting it perfect, but I'm recognising it. And for me, that's a good first step into managing things better. And as I've always said, for me, when it comes around to mental health, and people might have different opinions, it's all about just managing how your mindset is, or managing your mental health in the best way possible. It might not have anything to do with mindset, but just managing your situation in the best way possible. So me recognizing that I'm feeling a certain way and being able to take stock of that, understand how I'm feeling, is a positive step in the right direction. And the thing that I want to finish this episode on is a quote from a podcaster called Jay Shetty. Some of you may have heard of him before. Some of you may not have done, but I'll put a link to his podcast in the description below. And I followed Jay Shetty for probably about 6 years now, on and off. But I distinctly remember when I first started following him, not literally, when I first started following him on social media, that he shared a quote that reminded me, when I was thinking about this episode, of exactly how I'm feeling at this moment in time. And it was that you can have everything, just not at the same time. You can have everything, just not at the same time. And that was very poignant for me when thinking about this episode, because I'm trying to have everything at the same time. And that's just not the case. I can't do that. So now, following this episode, it's a chance for me to understand where my priorities are, understand where my energy and my focus needs to go, and then take action on those things. It's not just a case of me re-establishing what my priorities are. It's also a case of me then taking action and putting steps in place to make sure that I am focusing on those priorities. So yeah, if anybody is experiencing a similar kind of thing at the moment, where they feel like they're a bit overwhelmed, where they feel like they're trying to do everything all at once, you can have everything, just not at the same time. So it might be a case of thinking about what is the most important thing to you right now, prioritizing those things, and then making sure that the actions you're taking are living up to those priorities. But that's the end of today's ramble. It has been a bit of a ramble today, but I also feel like it has helped me gain clarity in the way that I'm thinking, the way that I'm feeling as well. I certainly feel much more positive now that I've got these things out into the open. And even though nobody has been listening at this specific moment in time of me recording, it's also useful for me to be able to verbalize what's in my head. And sometimes that's all I need. But also sometimes I recognize I do need to talk to the people that are closest to me, perhaps get their opinions, and use the support network that I have around me to good effect. So yeah, for all those for all of those guys that I consider to be in my close network, you know who you are. Hopefully, in future episodes, you will have heard the content that I'll be sharing before it goes out, because I do want to make that change. And this is my promise to all of you, that I want to make that change, to talk to you more openly, because I know I'm bad at that at the moment, fundamentally. And it's something that I want to improve on, something that I want to work on, and a habit that I want to change so that I don't carry it into the rest of my life, and also into the future relationships and future family that I might have as well. And I feel like it's a healthy thing to make those changes so that, I do feel more comfortable talking to people and fundamentally asking for help, because we can't get through this life on our own. No matter what we might think, no matter how we might have been raised, or the content that we expose ourselves to, we can't do this life on our own. It's a shared journey, and it's fundamentally human instinct to be social animals. So I need to get better at sharing with the people closest to me, and that's going to be one of my promises going forwards. But let's leave it there. As always, thank you very much for listening. If you have been, my name is Tom Regan, and this is the Training Tom podcast.